Hey, Emily, great to see you again. And yeah, so let's talk about the Pope, right? So we're both Catholics and, with our own evolution and issues with Catholicism on and off and up and down, but ultimately Catholics. And,
Correct.
one of the things that has been so stunning about the passing of Pope Francis is the outpouring of love from so many people who aren't Catholics, right? Some traditional Catholics were bothered by his sort of what they considered his wokeness, other political followers by his Peronism. He's more controversial for Catholics and more beloved by non-Catholics. So now we have an opportunity for a new pope, right? And we don't know which way the conclave is going to go, like more conservative or follow on with our first Latin American pope. Where do you think this is going, and who would you like to see be our next pope?
Well, of course, I have no idea where this is going. I'm afraid I have no insider information in the Vatican, but the way I'd like it to go is I think it's time for our first African Pope. Um,
Wow. Okay.
Simply because, it's a region where I spend a lot of my time working. I think it's time for an African Pope. I think it would be wonderful for a subcontinent where Catholicism is fast growing.
Mhm.
And it's just time. We're ready. It's like we're also ready for an African team to win the World Cup. It just must
Right.
happen. So that's my feeling. I don't know if that will happen, but I hope it will.
What do you think
And
what do you
once
think an African Pope's positions would be on, like, on the one hand, the sort of inclusion of a broader perspective of family structures. You have different family structures uh, in Africa, right? You have different tribal structures. And yet in some ways they're sort of conservative as well. And
I
how does
think
that tie into Catholic values in the
I think an African Pope would bring back old school values, really. I think, but by virtue of, a bit like Obama. So Obama
Mhm.
got points for his immutable characteristics, and therefore he could be a little bit more center left. He didn't have to be
Right.
far left. And I
Right.
think an African Pope would do the same. In England, what's fascinating is the number of Catholics for the first time in history has overtaken the number of Protestants. So the Catholic
Wow.
Church is calling to young people again in Europe, where we thought it was pretty much over. So I think the congregation, the Catholic congregation at least, wants a return to more conservative values.
That's really interesting. All right, let's see if we get our first African Pope. We'll wait for the white smoke. All right. Thank you,
See you
Emily.
later, Vanessa.